The first time she called him her office husband, I laughed, but not because it was funny, more like I was trying not to start a fight in the middle of folding laundry. My work husband takes better care of me than you do, Natalie said, half laughing, tossing her heels in the corner like she owned the place. You should be worried. I remember just standing there, holding one of her bras in my hand, thinking, okay, weird joke. Let it go. My name's Ben. I'm 34. I live outside Tacoma, in a 3-bedroom I bought right before the pandemic hit. Natalie moved in a year into us dating. That was 2 years ago. On paper, we were solid. Bills split, good sex, weekend brewery runs, the usual. But 8 months ago, something shifted. She landed a shiny management trainee spot at this private healthcare group. Real corporate. High-rise in Bellevue, catered lunches, company gym, name tags with gold foil lettering. The kind of place where they make you feel like you're climbing some exclusive ladder, even if you're still stapling reports and scheduling meetings for other people. That's when I started hearing the name all the damn time. Dr. Feldman this, Dr. Feldman that. Her boss, some VP of something. At first, it was little stuff. Dr. Feldman took us to lunch again. Or, he's so smart, Ben, like, seriously next level. I didn't think much of it. Then it was daily. He believes in me. He says I've got leadership potential. He told me I'm the glue that holds the team together. Then she'd throw in stuff like, he brought me sushi today. He remembered I liked spicy tuna. Always followed by that same forced laugh. Like she was daring me to react. I did react, eventually. I asked once, just once, if maybe it was a little much how often she brought him up. I wasn't angry, just trying to read the room. She looked at me like I was a jealous teenager. He's 45 and married, Ben. You're being insecure. And that was that. Rolled her eyes and went back to scrolling her phone like I hadn't even spoken. I didn't push. Mostly because I didn't want to come off like some paranoid boyfriend who can't handle his girl getting attention at work. But something stuck. Some little barb in the back of my brain. The lunches, the compliments, the way her tone changed when she talked about him. Couldn't shake it. I started watching, tracking little shifts. How she'd turn her phone face down when I walked by. How she'd work late, but come home in full makeup and zero stress. How the laughter felt rehearsed, like she was trying to prove a point I hadn't asked about. I didn't say anything else, but I stopped folding her laundry. We were sitting at a local place off Route 99, one of those overpriced farm-to-table spots with tiny portions and concrete floors that made everything echo. I picked it because she liked the decor. I paid the bill without saying anything, even though she ordered wine on a Wednesday afternoon like we were celebrating something. She didn't look up from her phone once while I was talking. I finally asked, "Something good happen at work?" That got her attention. She smiled, locked her phone, leaned back like she was being interviewed. Dr. Feldman approved my expansion proposal, said it was bold and showed real initiative. She paused just long enough for the words to land. Oh, and he brought me sushi again. That's like the 4th time this week. Then she laughed, loud, right in my face. Honestly, my work husband takes better care of me than you do. You better step it up. I didn't say anything for a second. Just watched her sip her wine and wait for my reaction like she was testing a fire alarm. That was it. That was the moment it all locked into place. The lunches, the text notifications flipped down, the over-the-top compliments. Her brushing me off anytime I even hinted that something felt off. It all hit at once, and it didn't hit like a gut punch. It hit like a switch flipping. Cold. Controlled. I looked her straight in the face. You're right, I said. Sounds like he's taking great care of you. I should thank him. Her face twitched. Just for a second. Not a big reaction, just enough. A blink too long. Her lips twitching like she wasn't sure whether to double down or backpedal. That tiny glitch told me everything I needed. She gave me the sideways smile. Oh, come on. Don't be dramatic. You brought up his name 4 times in 1 minute, I said. I'm not the one making this weird. She laughed again, but this time it was tighter. More defensive. It's just work stuff, Ben. God. I thought you were more secure than this. I am secure, I said, standing up. You're the one making jokes about being taken care of by another man. I grabbed the check, already paid, and headed for the door. She didn't follow right away. I could feel her eyes on my back the whole way out. We didn't talk in the car. When we got home, she made a show of slamming her bag down, tossing her coat over a chair, like she wanted to keep the spotlight on her. She stood in the kitchen, staring at me like I was supposed to apologize. "You really want to make this a thing?" she said. "I'm busting my ass at a real job, getting noticed, and instead of being happy for me, you're being—" "What?" "Jealous. Jealous." I stepped closer, calm. "You're calling the guy who buys you lunch every day your work husband. You talk about him more than you talk to me. And I'm the one with the problem." She shook her head, grabbed a LaCroix from the fridge, popped it with too much force. "He's my boss, Ben. I'm trying to build something. Why do you always act like that's a threat?" "I'm not threatened," I said. "But maybe you should ask yourself why you're more excited about your boss's approval than anything we've got going on here." That shut her up. For once, she didn't have a comeback. She just stood there, blinking, like she wasn't used to me calling her out without yelling. I didn't yell. I wasn't angry. I was done guessing. She walked off, muttering, "Unbelievable," and went straight to the bedroom, door half closed, not slammed. I sat on the couch for a while, TV on mute, letting it all settle. Something had changed between us, and we both knew it. But she thought she was still in control, thought I was just another guy too scared to rock the boat. She had no idea what was coming next. She stayed quiet the rest of the night. I didn't push. I didn't sleep much either. Just laid there, staring at the ceiling, playing the last few months like a tape on loop. The sushi, the jokes, the way her voice changed when she said his name. By morning, I wasn't mad. I was clear. I made coffee, fed the dog, then sat down at the kitchen counter and pulled out my laptop. Typed in Dr. Alan Feldman, Bellevue. First hit company website. Vice President of Clinical Strategy. Ivy League credentials, smug headshot. Looked exactly how I pictured him. Fit, confident, corporate. Man with a god complex and a black Amex. His bio said he led strategic oversight of emerging leaders. Yeah, I bet he did. Next, I found his LinkedIn. He'd liked a post about mentorship boundaries in corporate leadership. The irony almost made me laugh. Then I searched his name with family. Found his wife's blog in 2 clicks. She sold real estate. Her name was Kayla. Blonde, chirpy, proud mom of 3. Their lake house was in Sammamish. Big windows, white boat dock. Life that looked like a magazine ad. I saved every link. Next, I searched the health group's HR policy. It was buried 2 pages deep on their corporate site. Took 15 minutes to find the full employee handbook. I read every line twice, and there it was. Explicit. No romantic or personal relationships between direct reports and supervisors. Even the appearance of one was a violation. Repeated meals, gifts, special treatment. All of it was under conflict of interest. Fireable offense. No gray area. I shut my laptop and sat there a minute. Then I grabbed my keys and drove to the nearest big box store. Picked out a plain but professional thank you card, navy blue, thick paper, gold lettering on the front. No hearts. No sarcasm. Then I drove to a coffee chain across the lot and bought a $50 gift card. Slipped it inside the card. Sat in the car, wrote it out in neat handwriting. "Dear Dr. Feldman, thanks for all the support you've shown Natalie. She always mentions how you go out of your way to bring her lunch and encourage her growth. It means a lot. Just wanted to show appreciation from my side as well. Ben, Natalie's boyfriend. No threats, no accusations. Just a gift and a signature." I put the card in an envelope and wrote his full office address on the front. Not the building, his name. I paid for tracking and confirmation at the post office. I wanted a record. I wanted a receipt. The guy behind the counter didn't even blink. Back home, Natalie was still in bed, scrolling on her phone, pretending to be tired even though she hadn't worked late the night before. She didn't ask where I went. She didn't see the return address label with our zip code on it, or the tracking slip I tucked in my sock drawer under my birth certificate. I made breakfast like it was any other Tuesday. Eggs, toast, silence. She smiled halfway through chewing and said, "Oh, forgot to tell you. Feldman said my presentation yesterday was best in class. He wants me to show it at the regional summit." I just nodded and sipped my coffee. "You proud of me or what?" she asked, smirking. I smiled back. "Oh, I'm watching your career very closely." She laughed. Had no idea. Friday morning, I was at work when my phone lit up. "Natalie, what did you do?" "Natalie, did you send a card to Feldman?" "Natalie, they pulled me into HR." I stared at the screen for a second, then typed back, "In a meeting. Can't talk." "What's going on?" She didn't answer. Nothing for the next 6 hours. When I got home, I knew she was waiting before I even turned the key. The house was too quiet. No music, no TV. Just that thick, heavy silence like the air itself was pissed off. She was standing in the kitchen in full work clothes. Blazer still buttoned, heels still on, like she hadn't moved since walking through the door. Her face was pale, and her hands were shaking, clutching a half-empty glass of water like it was going to anchor her to the floor. "You got me suspended," she said, voice flat. "You actually got me suspended." I dropped my keys in the bowl by the door and walked past her toward the fridge. "What are you talking about?" "Don't." She set the glass down hard. "You sent that card to Feldman with the gift card. They brought me in with HR. Said it looked like a boundary violation, like he was favoring me." I pulled out a beer, popped the cap, leaned against the counter. "I just thanked the man who's been feeding you sushi 4 times a week," I said. "Didn't think that would be a problem." She snapped. "You knew exactly what that would do. You wanted this. You sabotaged me." "I signed it as your boyfriend," I said calmly. Didn't lie, didn't accuse. Just showed appreciation, like any polite man would. She was pacing now, hands in her hair, breathing like she was trying not to throw something. "They think we were sleeping together," she said finally. "You made it look like we were sleeping together." "I didn't make it look like anything," I said. "I just pointed out what was already there." She stopped pacing. "You know how hard I've worked? I busted my ass to get that position. And now it's all gone." I took a sip of my beer, watching her spiral. Why would it be gone if there was nothing going on? She froze. Right there. No words, no movement. Just a blank stare like her body forgot how to respond. That was the tell. That split second of silence where the truth tried to crawl out before she shoved it back down. I didn't need a confession. That pause said everything. She finally opened her mouth, but nothing came out at first. Then, "You don't understand how corporate works. This was political. They were waiting for a reason to screw me." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe you were getting special treatment from a married boss and thought no one would ever call it out." Her eyes started to water, but I didn't feel bad. "Not anymore." "You think you're smart," she said, voice shaking. "You think you're so clever." "No," I said, "but I pay attention." She grabbed her phone and stormed into the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I heard drawers opening, bags rustling, her muttering to herself. I didn't follow. I sat at the table and finished my drink while the sound of her packing echoed down the hall. She was still in the bedroom when I walked down the hall. Bags half-packed, clothes all over the bed like she couldn't decide what to take. I stood in the doorway. "You've got until the end of the night to be out." She spun around. "What? You're kicking me out?" "Yeah," I said. "You don't live here anymore." Her jaw dropped, like she couldn't believe I had the nerve. "Ben, I have nowhere to go." I leaned on the doorframe. "Try Feldman. Maybe he's got a guest room next to his guilt." That hit her. She crumbled a little, arms crossed tight, chin tucked down. "You're seriously throwing me out? Like I'm trash." I didn't flinch. "You crossed the line. You got caught. I'm just cleaning up what's left." She stared at me, blinking hard, trying to squeeze out tears like it might change something. "You're a monster," she said, voice cracking. "You sabotaged my entire career over your own insecurity." I walked back to the living room, opened the hall closet, and yanked out her spare suitcase, the red one with the busted wheel. Tossed it on the couch loud enough to make a point. "I'll be back in an hour," I said, grabbing my keys. "If you're not gone, I'm calling the cops to escort you out." She didn't move, just stood there in the hallway with her mouth half open. I didn't care. I walked out without another word, got in my truck, and drove to the burger joint down the road. Ate at the counter, took my time, even ordered fries and a shake like it was a celebration dinner. No texts, no calls. She knew I meant it. When I pulled back into the driveway, porch light was off. House was dark. I stepped inside, quiet. Too quiet. She was gone. Only sign she'd been there was a note stuck to the fridge with a magnet. One of those sarcastic ones she bought at a gas station. Said, "Everything's fine. Nothing's on fire." The note underneath was handwritten in red ink. "You're vindictive, selfish, and pathetic. You never deserved me." That was it. I pulled it down, crumpled it, tossed it in the trash. Didn't feel sad. Didn't feel guilty. Just felt done. I locked the front door behind me, grabbed a beer, and put my feet up for the first time in weeks. Next morning, I woke up early, showered, made coffee, and called a locksmith. By 9, the locks were changed. Front door, garage, and the back slider, every single entry point. Took less than an hour. I paid cash. Soon as the guy left, I tossed her old house key in the trash and stood there watching it sink into the banana peels and coffee filters. Felt right. Then I remembered the damn car. She'd been driving that leased Audi, the one she had to have when she landed the job. Low mileage, leather interior, Bluetooth everything. Said it matched her new position. What she didn't say at the time was that her credit wouldn't get her approved a loan. Co-signed. Dumb move. At the time, I thought it was temporary, 6 months, maybe a year. Thought we'd be married eventually, so what was the difference? Pulled up the lease paperwork in my email. There it was. My name, primary signer. Hers listed as authorized driver. If she stopped paying, it wouldn't just ding her credit. It would nail mine. I called the finance company, sat through 20 minutes of hold music, and finally got some guy in Arizona who sounded half awake. Told him the truth. We broke up. She doesn't live here anymore. She's got the car. I'm not paying for it. He asked if I had the car. I said no, but I knew where it was, her friend's apartment in Issaquah. I gave him the exact address, unit number, even told him which parking spot. Her dumb pink parking pass was probably still on the dash. He said they could arrange a voluntary repossession. No fees, no drama. Just pick it up quietly. Do it, I said. 2 days later, I got the confirmation email. Vehicle recovered. No damage. Tow went smooth. Right after that, the text started blowing up my phone. Natalie, you repo'd my car? Natalie, what is wrong with you? Natalie, I need that for work. You ruined my life. I waited a few minutes, then replied. You said I needed to step up. I'm stepping up to protect myself. Then I blocked her. Phone, email, socials. Everything. No more chances. No more guilt. She made her moves and I made mine. I called my credit union after and told them I wanted to flag any joint accounts. She wasn't listed anywhere. Thank God. But I checked again just to be sure. Set up fraud alerts anyway. Later that night, I cracked open a beer and watched a show I actually liked. No crime docs. No romantic drama. Just loud explosions and dumb jokes. Peace and quiet, finally. I checked the mail before bed. One envelope, credit card pre-approval, addressed to us. I shredded it without opening. The next threat came old school through my phone, right as I was leaving work. Unknown number. I picked up anyway. Ben, this is Natalie's father. The voice snapped. No hello? No intro. Just pure pissed off energy. You're going to fix this. You're going to call her HR department and tell them you misunderstood what was going on. I didn't say anything at first. Just stood in the parking lot with my keys in my hand, letting the silence do the heavy lifting. He kept going. You're not thinking clearly. You've ruined her professional reputation. Do you understand what you've done? I finally answered, calm as ever. All I did was send a thank you card. If that's enough to tank her job, maybe she shouldn't have been accepting free lunches from her married boss. You're playing a dangerous game, he barked. No, sir, I said. I ended one. And then I hung up. I figured that was the last of it, but of course it wasn't. Later that night, the texts started. Not from Natalie, I'd already blocked her, but from her best friend, Danielle. The same girl who once drunkenly told me I was too boring for Natalie, while eating jalapeno poppers on my couch. Danielle, WTF is wrong with you? Danielle, she's broke. She's going to lose everything. You went nuclear over nothing. Danielle, you could have handled this like a grown-up. I didn't reply. There was no point. These weren't conversations. They were guilt trips wrapped in insults. And I wasn't taking the bait. What pissed them off wasn't the job loss. It was that I'd taken control of the fallout. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't try to win her back. I just exposed the rot and walked away while they were still scrambling for damage control. They expected me to be soft. They expected me to forgive, swallow it, maybe even help clean up the mess she made. Instead, I locked the damn door and repossessed the car. I got one more voicemail from her dad. 2 days later. You're selfish. You think you've won something, but you've only proven how petty and vindictive you are. You'll regret this. I listened to the whole thing. Then I deleted it. No anger. No second thoughts. They wanted to paint me as unstable, bitter, out for revenge, because it made them feel better about how badly she had messed up. But I wasn't acting out of spite. I was defending myself. Finally, I didn't burn her life down. She just built it too close to the edge and I stopped holding it up. About a week after the calls and texts died down, I got a letter in the mail. Certified. Thick envelope with a law firm's logo on the corner. I already knew what it was before I opened it. Her dad's name was on the letterhead. Inside was a 4-page demand, all legal fluff, but the bold part hit right away. Our client seeks $40,000 in damages related to emotional distress, loss of employment, and reputational harm caused by your deliberate and malicious actions. I actually laughed. They were trying to shake me down. Thought I'd panic. Thought I'd lawyer up, apologize, maybe settle just to make it go away. Instead, I drove straight to Steve's office. Steve and I went to high school together. He's a contract lawyer now, runs his own practice. Smart, blunt, hates bullies. I dropped the letter on his desk. Guess who's feeling litigious? He skimmed it, snorted, and said, "They really want to open this door? They're serious," I said. "They think I'll fold." He leaned back in his chair. "All right, let's reply." Steve drafted the response that same afternoon. 2 pages, tight language. No threats, no emotion, just facts. Our client sent a single thank you note, which referenced documented actions occurring in a professional setting. If this act alone resulted in termination, the fault lies with your client's choices, not ours. He included the company's ethics policy, quoted the part about no personal relationships or appearances of impropriety, even attached a screenshot of the company bio listing Feldman as Natalie's direct supervisor. He ended it with a clean closer. "We consider this matter closed. Any further contact will be treated as harassment." We mailed it certified just like theirs. Then we waited. Nothing came back. No second letter. No call. No knock on the door. Just silence. And it felt good, so damn good, to shut them down on paper. Professionally. Legally. No drama. No shouting. Just their bluff getting slammed into a wall. They thought I'd be too scared to fight back. Thought I was just some bitter guy with no backbone. What they didn't get was that I wasn't scared. I was just done. Done being the quiet one. Done letting people walk all over me because I didn't want to cause trouble. Steve called me a week later just to check in. "They're not going to try again," he said. "It was a scare tactic. Happens more than you think." I told him I owed him dinner. He told me I owed him a 6-pack. Fair enough. I hung up the phone and looked over at the fridge, the one that used to be covered in her sticky notes, lists, passive-aggressive reminders about garbage day. Now it was clean, empty, quiet, and for the first time in a long time, mine again. The knock on my door was firm. Not aggressive, but official. I opened it and there stood a uniformed cop, hand resting lightly on his belt. "Mr. Taylor?" "Yeah. Civil standby," he said. "Your ex-girlfriend's here to collect her property." I didn't flinch. I'd been expecting this. "It's all boxed. Everything she left." The officer gave a single nod. "Let's make this quick then." I stepped aside and motioned toward the living room. 12 boxes, all taped up and labeled. Clothes, books, makeup, random crap from the bathroom. I hadn't touched a thing. Left it exactly how she left it. She came in behind him a second later. Natalie. No makeup this time. Hair pulled back tight. Wearing jeans and a hoodie like she wanted to disappear into herself. She didn't look at me. Didn't say a word. Just scanned the boxes like she expected to find something missing. Then her eyes locked on the dresser. "That's mine," she said, walking toward it. "Nope," I said, already reaching into the drawer near the front door. She looked at the officer. "That's my antique dresser. He's keeping it out of spite." I handed the receipt to the cop. "I paid for it. Got it delivered from Pinewood Antiques. It's got my name on the invoice." The cop looked it over, nodded once, then turned to her. "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. If you want to claim it, you'll need to file in small claims court. You're not getting it today." She opened her mouth to argue, but that's when her dad stepped through the doorway like a puffed-up rooster. Full suit, Bluetooth in his ear, like he'd just walked out of a courtroom. Probably thought the badge meant he could lawyer his way through it. "You're refusing to release her property?" he barked at me. "I'm keeping what I bought," I said flat. "She used that dresser for over a year, and I used the fridge. Doesn't mean it's hers." The officer cut in. "Sir, let's keep this respectful. He has a receipt. You're here to collect her belongings, not debate ownership." Her dad clenched his jaw. Natalie just stood there frozen, fists tight at her sides. "Let's just get the boxes," she muttered. He didn't respond, just glared at me like I'd kicked his daughter out barefoot in a snowstorm. They started hauling boxes to his SUV. She wouldn't meet my eyes. He slammed the hatch after the last one and came back in for a final word. "You'll regret this," he said under his breath. I smiled. "Already don't." He scoffed and walked out. The cop gave me a look, neutral, but maybe just a little satisfied, and nodded once before heading to his cruiser. I shut the door, locked it behind them, and looked around. 12 boxes gone. One dresser left. And the silence? Perfect. The dresser sat in my living room for maybe 2 more weeks. Then I listed it online and sold it to a couple from Olympia who were decorating their Airbnb. Took the cash, booked a cabin up north, and spent the weekend doing absolutely nothing. No texts, no drama, no pretending. The fallout hit my credit, not gonna lie. That repo dinged my score a good 40 points. I called the finance company, sent letters, even got Steve involved. He says it's winnable. Paper trail's solid. But even if it sticks, it was worth it. I bought my way out of a mess. Feldman didn't come out clean either. Word got around fast once HR started digging. He got demoted, stripped of stock perks, shuffled into some empty title with no team and no authority. Corporate purgatory. His wife filed for divorce 2 weeks after the suspension. Found out about the sushi lunches and mentorship. Apparently, I wasn't the only one noticing patterns. As for Natalie, fired for cause. No severance. No glowing references. She couch-surfed for a while, but even Danielle kicked her out after they got into it. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents in Puyallup. Works admin at a local clinic, answering phones and restocking tongue depressors. She hasn't tried to reach out again. I think she finally got the message. I've been seeing someone new. We're taking it slow, no big declarations, no games. Her name's Rachel. She builds backyard gardens for a living. Works with her hands. Smells like mulch and rosemary half the time. Doesn't touch her phone at dinner. One night she said, "You're real quiet sometimes." I told her, "Quiet's underrated." And she nodded like she understood exactly what I meant. I don't feel like a hero. Never claimed to be one. I didn't expose a scandal or take down some evil empire. I sent one thank you card. That was all it took to bring down the house of lies they built. And me? I just walked away with my name intact. And finally, peace.